Welcome everybody to the next episode in our Meet the Atlassian Vendor series. And today we've got Martin from AppFire, who's going to tell us all about Big Picture, which is an amazing tool. Every business above small in size is doing multiple projects and they need to manage their capacity and they need to manage their portfolio. And Martin's going to tell us all about it. So thanks, Martin, for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Thanks a lot for inviting me. So welcome, everybody. So my name is Martin, or Martin, if you prefer international version, of course. So I'm a client success manager at Big Picture at AppFire. So before I just dive into the presentation of Big Picture, let me tell you perhaps a few words about AppFire. So as most of you probably know, but AppFire is one of the most leading enterprise collaboration software providers. We are simply providing solutions to our clients to make sure that their teams can work any way they want. We've been around for 18 years now. We are a Platinum Atlassian marketplace partner of Atlassian. We are largest vendor in their ecosystem. On top of that, we are kindly also including our footprint into Microsoft and Salesforce structures. What is one of the main advantage with dealing or working with our solutions? By choosing AppFire products, our clients do not only get best-in-class software, but they also get a unified, constant enterprise customer experience. So it means all our apps, they are distributed under a single end-user license agreement. You are getting support from a single portal. You don't have to navigate to multiple places. And of course, all our main concerns like security compliance are handled via one trust center. And in this portfolio, we've got more than close to, or perhaps even more than 200 products currently. We've got great management tools, but like mentioned today, I would like to present to you one of our biggest products, probably, the flagship product and portfolio management, which is a Big Picture. What is Big Picture? Like I mentioned, a leading product portfolio project management system. And thanks to that, you can get a really all-round 360 helicopter view of your planned, ongoing, and closed initiatives as well, organized into portfolios, reflecting your organization hierarchy. So no matter how diverse your team is in terms of tools used, in terms of methodology, you can still get benefit from utilizing our software on top of your Jira.
How many organizations these days are running Jira? It's just many.
Yeah, I would say Atlassian is a real behemoth in this case. So probably, of course, Azure DevOps, Microsoft Project, they've got their footprint, but well, Jira is definitely one of the leading platforms nowadays. So, all right, so perhaps that's more than enough for the introduction. But let me right now give you a little bit of overview of what Big Picture is.
Yeah, show us the tools. It's amazing. And for all you project managers out there, this is what you've been waiting for. You knew this could be. You knew this was possible.
All right. So, welcome to the Big Picture. This is the welcoming screen. So, like I mentioned, it's one of the most powerful management tools in the Atlassian ecosystem. What is its main purpose? It is designed to assist you with visualization, with advanced planning, tracking, and reporting capabilities. And we know that these are the typical features, the typical things required by managers who run smaller or larger scaled initiatives and portfolios. So the application allows you to, first of all, organize the work into any portfolios. It can represent either your company structure or the activity structure. Then the app itself is organized in a way of modules. So each of those modules is designed with aim to cover one of the key aspects for the management. So being it in here, we do not have a full selection. I will cover them a little bit in more detail as we move through the presentation. But we've got in total 11 modules like overview, Gantt, scope, board, objectives, teams, resources, risk, and so many more. And each of them is simply designed to cover for a specific need coming from your business. So starting from this point, from overview, when you manage the work at scale with Big Picture, you definitely can, like I mentioned, structure your organization into portfolio. You are getting organized view. You are getting all of the details coming from your actual Jira tasks. So you have get a perfect helicopter view of where you are with your project, starting from the lowest level, even, for example, on the level of a single sprint, if you are working in an iterative way, up to the level of even your full enterprise. Then, as you can tell by the so-called box types, as we name them, so those are the templates of Big Picture programs. It doesn't really matter how your company or how your teams are working. Some of them might be still utilizing the classical waterfall approach. Some of them might be going agile or even scaled agile. As you can see, Big Picture has got templates for every framework. So you are able to blend different methodologies, different approaches, even within same portfolios. And again, one main advantage you are getting is that your multiple teams, they can use the single tool. You are getting the perfect overview in a single place. So you are getting a single, what we call it, a single source of truth for your project statuses, for your initiative statuses. So that definitely is a great advantage.
Yes, being able to understand where your projects are at, all of them. Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so let me present you some of the modules and how they can assist you with your daily tasks. So I will be utilizing a hybrid project, as this one covers most of the functionalities which are in there. So as you can see here, right now we are in a Gantt chart. First things first, it is able to provide you with a classical Gantt functionalities, but also it can provide you with a view of a roadmap for your software phases. So you do not necessarily have to, you can already straight away see all of the things which are valid for your waterfall projects, like tracking dependencies, seeing the timeline. Also, you are able to create an informative timeline for your agile projects. So you're able to use the functionality to have a prediction of when your goal will be realized. Moving on, we've got scope module. So this is a perfect tool for managing and grooming your backlog. Thanks to a big screen, thanks to customizable columns, you can decide exactly which details of the tasks you would like to see and work with them at ease using the inline editing function. So it can definitely speed up your work. Moving on, we've got the board module, which is a working place for your agile teams working in sprints. We can combine information about your sprints for multiple teams. You can easily track dependencies. You can see your backlog. You can see the planned task. You can see the ones which you still have to concentrate. So it gives you a perfect working tool for your agile teams working in iterations. Objectives, again, a perfect tool for managing, setting high-level objectives, high-level business goals. We know that those can be quite tacky to communicate within your enterprise. Quite often, those ideas come from top-level management, but it's quite complicated to get them communicated properly to the lower levels in your organization and making sure that those are properly understandable. So in here, you are able to create them, use them, communicate, track progress, a perfect tool for letting everybody know what your higher business goals are. And moving on, one of the biggest functional features of our software are the two modules which are aimed purely at managing your resources. So one of them, which we are looking at currently, are teams. You can create your teams, you can manage the memberships, you can assign, unassign users, you can decide on the availability for a given period of time. And then, based on this setup, based on this information, you are getting a perfect overview of how much work each of your persons has what he or she is being involved in, and whether you are facing problems with over or under allocation. And then just to finish off, we've got also a risk module, which allows you to identify any of activities ongoing in your projects, ongoing in your portfolios, identify it as a potential threat to a smooth implementation of your initiative, and then easily track it in here, easily change the classification of it, or provide with more details, for example, with risk mitigation plans. And
yeah, unbelievable. I mean, yeah, it really makes you think, because my father was a project manager. I came into project management. It's interesting just watching the whole scenario evolve. And it's when you get to that point where you've got everything and it's going to work. Like it's almost brings a tear to your eye. So what is stopping organizations just getting this going? You've got Jira, you've got your teams in Jira. Why are you not using this? What's stopping organizations moving forward, do you think, Martin?
Well, that's a very good question. To be frank, it's pretty hard for me to find the justification for not using such software. It gives you quite, as we've seen, it gives you quite a lot of advantages over the standard approach in Jira. So it makes your life easier. One of the biggest advantages, I think, which can be in here quoted as a good reason for using it, is that, especially currently, we know we are still facing a little bit of crisis. This is one of the simplest and easiest way to simply slash a little bit of your expenses. In case you realize you are in need of a project portfolio management tool, in order, if you will need to, pardon me saying, splash out a huge amount of cash on a PPM system, so you do not need to introduce another standalone tool, which can be very costly. You already have got your Jira, you've got all of your activities, all of your work tasks placed in there. So you've got the backlog, let's call it. Right now, you can just add on top of it a solution like ours that simply can leverage Jira, can add a lot of functionalities to the existing ones, and can introduce simply a valid portfolio management system, which can make everybody's life simply easier.
And in terms of adoption, so I can imagine that there's a lot of organizations out there that, they might still be running Microsoft Project, or they've the spreadsheets, or they've got some other tools, or alternatively, their Jira might be
yes,
a bit of a mess. What are your thoughts?
Well, we all know that old habits die hard, or perhaps they die hardest. So yeah, migration or switching from one platform to another can definitely be perceived as a bit of an obstacle, as a very steep learning curve. But for that, Big Picture also can provide you with a bit of assistance. So, for example, you've mentioned Microsoft Project, which is also a very common tool. For that, for example, the Big Picture can assist you with that we've got capabilities, thanks to another of our add-ons, Big Template, which integrates with Big Picture. As you can see, we've got the importing option, importing capability. And as you can see right now, the Microsoft Project files are one of the supported formats. So in case you have got a significant piece of work already present in Microsoft Project, and you are looking for a way to migrate it into Jira, then Big Picture can also assist you in a little bit of that. So and we understand that there is a steep learning curve. We understand that there might be some obstacles, but in case somebody is willing to do the big step, let's call it, and switch over to Jira and our plugin, then we are also assisting it and making it a bit easier.
All right, well, that's interesting, because so in terms of training, obviously Design Industries, provides training to our clients on this product. We use it ourselves every day. How much of a jump is it really? Because all the concepts are the same, but this is just, it's organized together so it actually works. And what I love is you can actually do the blended agile or waterfall. That's amazing. But yeah, in terms of training, how much of a jump really is it? For someone maybe coming out of Microsoft project, should they be intimidated? They're going to get training. It looks like a Gantt chart. It looks and feels. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly like you said. So the basic, of course, it can look intimidating. I'm not going to say that it's not, because this is quite often what we, especially in the past, before we've launched a huge initiative on making onboarding and starting to work in big picture as easy as possible. It can be a little bit intimidating, but exactly like you said, underneath the hood, let's call it, the functionalities are still quite exactly the same. The Gantt chart is still a Gantt chart. You still are able to assign resources to it. You still are able to track dependencies. You still are able to identify critical paths, and so on and so forth. One of the main differences perhaps between Big Picture and Microsoft Project might be exactly as you said, that it's a bit of a compiled package, that it brings a kind of all-in-one solution, so that you can very easily have different teams work using different methodologies, different approaches, use still the same tool, and get a combined view with some additional functionalities, like maybe, for example, tracking dependencies running from one of your initiatives, one of your projects to another. So yeah, definitely, I would say probably there is a bit of a big step, especially when switching, so getting accustomed to a little bit of new look and feel. But I would say underneath, still the functionalities are so similar that probably within a very short amount of time, most of the project managers, most of the project participants, they will get accustomed and they will have no problems using the software.
Yeah, I think that's my thoughts as well. At the end of the day, it's still project management, and the main difference is going to be the data is actually going to be correct because it's coming out of Jira. So as a project manager, your Gantt chart will actually reflect reality. And wow,
yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's definitely also one of the big advantages. So in my experience, we've met with clients, we've met with users who were kind of switching their work between Microsoft Project and Jira, and Big Picture, sorry, because somebody was still using Microsoft Project, so they were exporting, importing the files back and forth. But what you said is absolutely correct. So right now, thanks to the integration with Jira, so doesn't really matter where the work is happening. Some of the people might still prefer to do their tasks in Jira because they've grown accustomed to it. They feel in their comfort zone. They just will go to Jira. They will just edit all the necessary details, like, I don't know, changing estimates, reassigning the task, putting in some comments, and so on and so forth, creating dependencies. And the best part is that it is automatically, Big Picture is automatically synchronizing with Jira. So whatever happens, whatever changes are implemented in Jira, they are instantly visible in Big Picture. The same, of course, goes if you do your work in Big Picture. All of the changes you implement in Big Picture or through Big Picture are visible in Jira. So your teams can decide how they work, and still everybody, regardless of the way they work, are getting the single source of information. The information is always in sync, it's always updated. So you're not in risk of running into a situation where somebody is working on an outdated set of information for their daily tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the visibility. And I guess that's a cross-project, cross-team visibility. Just makes a difference when it comes to your decision making, because you can see it all. And it's accurate.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So this is also something which Big Picture is helping you with. So we've seen that, for example, one of the examples, we've seen the resources module in here, which is right now it is concentrating on a single project of ours. But for example, what if I'm interested in seeing the overview on a resource on the higher level. I'm getting this one as well. Okay, those ones are mainly risks, so they do not have workload associated to them. But in here, I can clearly see the tasks and the workload coming from all of the projects on my portfolio. So it's giving me a higher overview, a higher look. So I think I've forgotten to mention the reports, which run on portfolio level as well. So you are able to see the combined information for all of the initiatives which are happening under your wings, let's call them. So you are getting the combined information about certain things like delays, like milestones, like markers, maybe the risks coming from all of the projects. So it is also speeding up your work because you can get the information you need for making your decisions in a much quicker fashion, in a much quicker way. You don't have to go around and collect the information from multiple sources. You've got everything at hand.
Yeah, and the accuracy of it, that timeliness and accuracy, that's what you need for your decision making.
Exactly.
That's great. What else can you show us, Martin? This is
well, no, in a nutshell, I think we've shown, we've went through the most functional possibilities of Big Picture. So we've covered the modules. As you can see, so one of the, well, another thing which you might use in having Big Picture on board, Big Picture is very flexible. So quite typically, we would associate that each of the projects or programs in Big Picture, it has to represent a valid initiative or a valid project of yours coming from a Jira. This is quite a typical, a quite classical approach because we know, well, a Jira project is a confined, a closed set of tasks which are aimed at delivering a certain goal. So it makes perfect sense that, for example, a Big Picture program is an equivalent of a Jira project, but it doesn't have to be that way. So additional flexibility, for example, is that you might create multiple boxes covering same sets of tasks from your Jira, but use them for different purposes. One crazy idea, perhaps, or a small idea. So this is something which a team manager or a team leader might use. This is just, this one is not based on a project, it's based on a filter. So this is an additional flexibility level, which allows you to create custom Big Picture programs aimed squarely at a very defined goal. So for example, this one here is based on assignees coming from my team members. So then I'm very quickly can identify. So let me zoom out a little bit. For example, sorry, just quick double click. And at a glance, I can see where Cameron is working. Oh, she's working in this project, she's working in this project, and in this project, and the timeline looked like this. So it does not necessarily have to be a complex initiative, a complex project you are working on. You can create even ad hoc boxes, ad hoc Big Picture programs, just for I don't know, a very quick collection of information across a whole of your Jira. So this is, I think, also one of the flexibilities which Big Picture is offering you in terms of how you can manage your initiatives, how you can manage your activities.
Well, yeah, that's hilarious. Again, it just makes me laugh. It's the putting all this capability together, because now you're harnessing JQL, and it's like, okay, what do we really, or what's another view that we want to look at? What's another slice of information that we just want to be able to manage? And obviously, just being able to see where your team are working cross project, so you can go have a conversation or whatever it's going to be. I mean, that's the sort of information that previously is just, you've got to accumulate that information. You've got to go and source it within the organization, as opposed to having a filter, create a box, and suddenly you're looking at a completely different view, a slice of your data, and it's accurate, which is obviously, and it's timely, and that's all for your decision making. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can think about it, but this is also bringing in a lot of, it's helping you with your team's activities management. So few things we ruled out thanks to having this type of solution on board. So first things first, we know that quite a significant part of project life, meeting life, project life are meetings, constant exchange of emails, constant communication. So quite often, just implementing this type of solution can slash the number of such activities, because you as a team leader, as a project manager, you do not necessarily have to arrange, I don't know, a number of stand-up meetings, have a number of phone calls daily just to get updated statuses. Hey, what's happening with your piece of project? What's happening with yours? You simply come in here, you get an overview coming from your actual statuses of Jira, you get of Jira tasks, sorry. You get actual information live. You do not have to spend your precious time just getting this information, because it's already available for you. And of course, a huge helper in terms of increasing the productivity, locating the right resource for a task, checking whether your team is not over allocated, whether they are in a comfortable position to deliver the things which you want them to deliver. So you are able to simply better utilize, better organize the work of your existing resources. So if this can limit the stress on the existing resources, it can very easily identify, for example, a potential need for hiring somebody else, or vice versa. Maybe it will allow you to get a better overview of the situation and make sure that you are able to cope with what is already available within your organization. So you can be achieving the goals without, for example, increasing the headcounts. So another advantage from having a kind of an integrated system to look at your daily work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the benefits and advantages of having, let's say, all of this stuff working and hanging together is the brand experience for your staff. So the fact that the staff can come in, and as a project manager, I've got all the information I need. I don't have to run around with spreadsheets. I don't have to do all that admin follow-up, which is just annoying because you've got to do it, need the info. I've got the information available to me, so there's less stress, there's less doing things I don't like, there's more doing the parts of my job where I'm really adding value. And it's the same for the team members and the team leads, because we can now see the capacity, we can see that the team or the individual is overloaded. It becomes apparent immediately. It's communicated not just to the individual, the team lead, or the project, or the portfolio lead. Everybody sees it. And it just allows for a more professional internal environment and a calmer, less stress, because we're in control. We know what's going on. If problems occur, that's what happens, but we've got the information to make decisions. Completely changes the game in terms of the internal culture and what that means to staff retention. Your key people just being happy and productive and focused on delivering value instead of trying to accumulate or gather data. I think it's a little bit underappreciated how much of a difference that makes. Yeah,
definitely. I think you might be safe to say that in case you've got the big picture implemented and with correct information, you might run a little joke that your Excel reporting days are over, because we know that this is what you've said already, and I can only emphasize that. But quite typically, whenever you send out a report in Excel, typically at the moment you send it, it is getting outdated. In here, you're getting the live information. In here, you are getting every update as it is happening. So this is also something worth mentioning, that it is bringing a huge advantage, taking care of the reporting needs, taking care of the small burdens that everybody in a leader or managerial role in the project has to face daily in terms of reporting, checking progresses, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is definitely one of the huge areas where Big Picture can take care of those for you.
All right. So I don't know, what's the final message to all those out there who aren't doing this yet? Okay, maybe we heard. Sorry, you go on, Martin. Then I'll add some comments after.
Well, I can only encourage you all guys to try it, to test it. We are more than happy to assist you in any doubts, any questions which you might face on the implementation. Of course, we are heavily working. We are cooperating with our partners who are also able to assist you with the implementation. We know it might look a little bit scary in the beginning even, but this is really a tool which might bring you really huge benefits in your daily work, in your performing your daily tasks. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think that is the mindset shift. It's like this is going to take so much of the frustrating and challenging parts of the role away. It's kind of ridiculous. And I think in terms of, the intimidation factor, okay, and I think that comes across Jira as well. There's this sort of getting started, but at the end of the day, it's just fields of data and there's a lot on the screen. So it seems like there's a lot, but at the end of the day, it's just data and it all makes sense. And you just got to get used to the layout and you can alter it to get the fields that you want. And yeah, look, I mean, to some extent, you have to have your Jira configurations in order to be able to effectively use these tools. And it's, to be honest, I'm going to sit there and say it's not that hard. So, Design Industries is a solution partner. We can help you sort out the Jira component, get some standardized configurations going. And obviously, we can help you out with the tools and the training that's associated and the ongoing support. But even then, ongoing support, it's just a little bit of training. And I actually have a lot of faith in those project managers out there. You're pretty smart cookies. So, have a bit of faith. This is going to change your life in 100 ways for the better. So, I encourage you to reach out to us or AppFire. Obviously, come directly to us. We've got a partnership with AppFire, and it's great. It's we work together. If there's any challenges the Design Industries can't overcome, obviously we're directly on the phone with you guys. But a lot of our customers are using this tool, and I'm really thinking to myself, there's got to be almost that question of why not? Why have we not put this in place? We've really got to uncover that and get that solved. But thanks very much for joining us today, Martin. That was really good.
Thank you very much.
A really, really good overview of what this product can do. And if you're in doubt, just start anyway. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate your time.